guys, welcome back to Unit 2, Section 2, Marketing Mix with AARevision. I briefly talked about the product life cycle on my previous chapter in Unit 2, which was mainly focused about market saturation, which is between maturity and decline. And if you want to know more about market saturation, click on my previous video. I might just link it in the description box below, so check that out. So the product life cycle, to define this, it's different stages a product passes through as it moves from being an original idea until the end of its sales life. So there's 5 main stages, which is development, introduction, growth, maturity, and decline. It's nice if you draw the diagram depending on how many marks your question is. If it's longer, it's nice if you just sort of add it in the corner. Make sure you write sales and times, and then you you draw the little curve correctly. So impacts on original cash flow. Cash flow is money in and out your business or your bank. So it's inflows and outflows. So when I'm going to talk about the 5 different stages of the life cycle and sort of impacts on the cash flow. So development, this is when you're sort of making your product, you're sort of choosing what names go with it, blah, blah, blah. So you're technically in a negative cash flow because there's high levels of investment and there's no original sales, which means cash flow is all completely negative. Introduction is when you first bring it into a market, you're sort of introducing it to the market and your consumers. So it's still quite negative as there's a low initial sales because no one really knows about your product. Maybe 1 or 2 people might buy it initially because it's just new, no one really knows about it. And so you've got high costs of initial launch and promotion, and it doesn't actually match up to the amount of sales you're getting at this stage. Growth. At this point, sales start to pick up and promotional costs are still high, but cash flow should become positive because you're growing. So if we go back to the previous cycle, it's growing. So there's more sales over time. So you're picking up more sales, so more profits, etc. And so the cash flow starts to become positive because you're getting more money in than you're getting than it's going out. So like with promotional costs, there's less in comparison to what's coming in, basically, if that makes sense. Maturity, cash flow is maximized at this stage. So sales begin to peak, average costs may begin to fall as economies of scale are technically reached. This is your maximum stage. So if we look at the diagram here, this is the point where it's the highest and it doesn't expand from this point onwards. Decline. So cash flow could still be positive because sales will fall and cash flow may still remain positive as average costs are also quite low at this point. So you might just remain positive. So you still got more money in than you got out, although it's still declining. Boston Matrix. Right, so please ignore my shitty diagrams and my shitty people and the stuff like the cash cows. I don't know what I was thinking. I can't draw a cow, okay? You've got to deal with it. I think it looks a bit like a weird cloud thing. And my dog, my problem child, I'm actually quite pleased with because it looks like it's got a problem, right? And the star, obviously. The perfect one. Anyways, to define this, a business tool that helps you make decisions and allows the business to look at a range of products, also known as a portfolio. So to define Boston Matrix, it's a method of analysing a company's products in terms of their market share and growth potential, and the product portfolio is the range of products that a business produces, sometimes called as the product mix. So you've got market growth and market share, and you've got to know it's... Oh, okay, I've just made a mistake. I'm going to recorrect that. So it's supposed to be high, high, and low. So this is basically supposed to be flipped. Sorry about that. I'll fix that when I do my little annotations. So stars, they have a high share and a high market growth. Problem children, also known as question marks, have low share and a high market growth. Cash cows have a large share of slow growing or static market, and dogs have a low share of a low growth market. So when you're drawing the diagram, you've got to make it right because just as you see here, I've made a mistake here which I'm going to correct. But make sure market growth is at the top and market share is at the side. The way I remember it is like in terms of alphabetical order. G is before S. And so G should be higher than S is, right? So G is up here and S is here. So growth is up here, share is there. You've just got to know that high, low, and low, high. I probably made the mistake of thinking it's high, low, but it's high, low, high, if that makes sense. And make sure you've got star, cash cow, problem child, dog. Just think of an acronym to make sure you remember it. Like, I just weirdly remember it as SCPD. I don't really know. But it's just a way to remember it, really. I will touch down on this in a later video and make it more effective in like a 10-minute video, so I'm just quickly running through what a Boston Matrix is all about. Branding. So with branding, it creates an identity for a product or service and helps distinguish it to potential customers. So it creates some sort of brand loyalty. Customers will tend to seek it out and repeat their purchases, and it also forms part of the advertising and promotional plans. A trademark is a recognizable sign that distinguishes a product or service from its competition. It's usually like registered, and it could be legally protected for like 10 years. I'm pretty sure you have to pay in order to do that or something. It could include words, images, logos, anything that's easily recognizable. The most famous one is actually Coca-Cola, which is definitely recognized all over the world, although I think McDonald's counts as well because I'm pretty sure that is global 100%. Patents is a legal way of protecting a product, an idea, or a process over a period of time. So it's similar to a trademark, but without it, someone could actually copy the product or idea, so there's like not really any protection if you don't have a patent. It helps to protect it. It could be difficult to recoup the cost of development and research, and this would make the business reluctant to develop new products and processes, and consumers and society would lose some sort of the benefits of the innovation of it. It's just keywords that I think you should know. So, price elasticity. I'm going to make a separate video on this too at a later stage, so this is just a brief touchdown, just so you guys can recap. So, it's basically defined as how one variable changes in result of another related variable. So, PED, price elasticity of demand, also known as the responsiveness of quantity demanded to a change in price. So, it's, why does my divide curve, God, okay, this little line is supposed to be up here. When I did it, it was up here, but now it's down below. So it's basically percentage change in quantity demanded divided by percentage change in price. Price elastic is percentage change in quantity is greater than the percentage change in price, and price inelastic is percentage change in quantity is smaller than the percentage change in price. So an example of price inelastic products is like cigarettes or petrol. So no matter how much the change, even if the prices increase by a lot, the change in quantity is smaller, so there's less people that are going to drop out because they need it. They need cigarettes, they need petrol, and therefore they're going to buy it no matter what the price is. Therefore, the percentage change in quantity is actually smaller than the percentage change in price, so there's going to be less change. You can't really notice if people buy it or don't buy it because it's such a small change, whereas if it's a price elastic good, like a regular thing, then people are like, oh, it's increased its prices, we're not going to buy this, we're going to probably buy a substitute product instead, and therefore the percentage change in quantity is greater than the percentage change in the price. Social trends or marketing mix. So this is related to the 4 Ps: price, product, promotion and place. Sustainability. Firms that don't use sustainable resources there's a threat that it could be depleted, such as crude oil. So I've just recently found out that plastic is made from chemicals extracted from crude oil. So, example, if you're a firm such as WH Smith's, Asda, Tesco, if you're in London, if you're in the UK, etc., you should know these shops. So you know how they charge you like a penny in order to buy a bag and stuff. This sort of shows that they're using the marketing to promote their environmental values, because you know how they charge you 5 or 6p, because crude oil could be depleted over time, so it means that these resources will run out at some stage of your life. So if they charge you for these things, you might not actually buy it, and therefore you could find alternatives such as bringing your own bags, etc. Ethical, morally right. So example, fair trade products, etc. It helps companies avoid bad publicity, but there are higher costs. Like, you know, fair trade chocolates and stuff, firms tend to sell it, so they're sort of being seen to be ethical because they're helping out less fortunate people. Environmental factors, packaging, reduce excess packaging, similar to the sustainability about crude oil and the plastics from plastic bags, carrier bags. Health concerns, food manufacturers providing more information on labels for consumers to follow a healthier diet, so they know what sort of foods to buy. It's sort of like a way of informing your consumers, I suppose. Carbon footprints, considering all the environmental impacts a business does, and it helps to improve efficiencies. And that's it, guys, for chapter 2. That was a brief rundown. I shall pick up on more these points later on, but subscribe and stay tuned for the next video. Thank you. Goodbye.